Hi, today I'm going to make chicken cacciatore. I'm making it tonight and I'm going to serve it for dinner tomorrow night. You're going to hear my toddler in the background because he's getting ready for bed and... Oh, there he is. Okay, so here's what we're going to start with. We have a package of chicken thighs and I'm going to set it up here so you can see exactly what I'm doing. I'm going to take one package of chicken thighs and I'm going to coat them with some salt and pepper that I've mixed together in a little bowl. And I always work with chicken on something else, like this cutting board here. I'm going to work with the chicken on it. So then I can take this cutting board when I'm done and put it in the sink so I don't have to worry about, the chicken grossness being everywhere. Okay, so here you can see I put some salt and pepper and mixed it together in a little bowl. And I'm going to take the chicken, sprinkle it on there. And you can see it's pretty generous how much salt and pepper I'm putting on that side. You can see that. And then I'm going to flip each piece over. So I have 6 thighs in here. And I'm going to mention that I got all of this stuff at Aldi. All of my ingredients. So this meal is very affordable. Okay, I'm going to use the rest of my salt and pepper to season the other side of this chicken. And the next step is I put some, I'm just going to use it all up, rub it in. I took some flour, put it in a pie plate. And now I'm going to dredge the chicken, each piece in the flour. You can see I'm coating it pretty well. I'm going to do that for all 6 pieces. And then I'm going to brown them in a skillet with some olive oil. Okay, here you can see that I've dredged all my chicken thighs in flour, and they are bone-in skin chicken thighs. So they're very cheap to buy. I'm now heating up some olive oil in my skillet, and once it gets hot enough, and I can tell because it runs very quickly. You can see there, it's just coating the whole pan very quickly, which means it's hot enough for me to start browning. So I'm going to take my chicken and I'm going to brown each piece in here. I'm going to try not to crowd the skillet. I'm going to do each piece for 5 minutes per side. And they'll get nice and brown, and then I'll do the second batch. And then we'll be ready to start our next process. As our chicken's browning on the stove, and you can hear it sizzling in the background, I'm going to keep moving here and continue with chopping vegetables, which is our next step. So I'll start with carrots. I've already peeled 2 carrots here, and we're going to use 3 for this recipe. But I thought it might be good to show you how to properly peel a carrot. It's very easy. I don't know if you've done it before, but I'm just going to show you here once. You just take this tool and just take the skin off. It's really easy. Just make sure you don't hurt your fingers, because that can happen sometimes. But if you take your time, you can get these peeled really quickly. And you're going to need to peel 3 of them for this recipe. That's about done. I'll turn around and do the handle part that I was holding. And then I'll just cut off the top and the bottom, and I'll be ready to go. Now the recipe calls for me to roughly chop all of my vegetables. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut this carrot in half. And then I'm going to just chop it up roughly. For probably about maybe 1 inch to 1/2 inch, because I'm not being very precise here. I'll do that for all 3 carrots. I'm going to put it all in the bowl. Just checking my chicken and flipped it over for the second side. You can see what a nice crust it's gotten. I didn't actually cook it for the full 5 minutes because I smelled that it smelled like it was cooking, and I wanted to check on it, and I think that this piece right here was going to get a little too dark if I would have left it for the full 5 minutes. So I probably only cooked it for about 3.5 on that first side. So just keep an eye on it as you're cooking. I'm going to chop, the next thing is going to be the pepper, and cut the top off, and then to take the seeds out, I just use my fingers. I tap out. Sometimes I'll rinse it if there's a lot of seeds in there, but this looks pretty good. Do that for both sides, and you can just pop out this top piece. See, it just comes right out, and then you don't have to throw away that whole cap. So to actually chop the pepper, we're going to roughly chop it too. And I'll show you what that looks like. I'm just going to chop it up in roughly the same size pieces as I did the carrot. Just like that. I'll do that for the yellow pepper also. And then I'm going to do the same thing for the onion, but I'll show you how I cut the onion. I told you I was going to show you how to cut the onion. So to cut it, it's very easy. Just make sure you have a good knife. Cut it in half. And then I usually cut one end off. Peel it. Usually the skin comes off quite easily. I'll do one side and show you. For this recipe, it calls for 2 onions, but I have a large onion in the house, so I'm going to only use one. So you can see I left the one side on here. So I'm going to slice it, but not the whole way through to that side. I don't know if you can see it here. And then I'm going to just chop it that way. It makes it chopping a lot easier if all those pieces, and then I just throw this piece away because I don't like to mess around with it. You can do that for both half of the onion. I got another pan and I added some oil into it, and I'm going to just saute these vegetables that I just cut up in this pan for about 5 minutes until they're soft. And to this, I'm also going to add 10 cloves of garlic. And I always buy the garlic that is already cut up. And I'm sure you've seen this in the store. It's a really huge time saver. A half a teaspoon equals 1 clove. So I need to add 5 teaspoons to get my 10 cloves. So I'm going to do that. I'll saute these vegetables and then I'll show you what's next. Well, while the vegetables are sauteing, I chopped up the portobello mushrooms and I measured out the rest of the ingredients and got them ready. You can see that I have 2 cups of white wine, and I use a dry wine that my husband makes for me. I'm lucky enough to have a home brewer here, and he dabbles in wine also. Then there's 2 28-ounce cans of diced tomatoes. There's chicken broth and 2 cups of chicken broth, and I put the oregano right on top because when I pour it in, it makes it easier. There's 3 tablespoons of oregano, and there's some sugar there, and there's some basil. Now, the recipe says to garnish with the fresh basil, but to tell you the truth, I like to just be done with it. So I'm going to throw all of that in. I'm going to roughly chop it up and throw it in. But what we have to do now is we have to take our wine and put it in the pot, simmer it until it reduces by half. And so I'm going to say that I'm going to start looking at it after about 3 or 4 minutes. And we'll see how long it actually takes to reduce. Just stir it all around in there. I'm just going to keep an eye on it. Now, I use my microwave timer a lot because then I don't have to worry about it. So I'm just going to set it for 3 minutes and then we'll check on it. Well, it ended up taking about 6 minutes for that wine to reduce by half. After that, I added all of the rest of the ingredients, including putting the chicken back in. And the instructions specifically say to make sure that you submerge those pieces of chicken underneath that. So it's really important that you do have that big pan, that stock pot, because otherwise there's not going to be enough room. So I'm just going to shove it down in there. You can hear the the skin's actually crunchy. I'm going to have to move some stuff around to help them all fit. I'm going to simmer this for about 45 minutes, and after that it'll be ready to eat. Here's the chicken after it's cooked 45 minutes. I plated it and put some of the vegetables underneath so you could see what everything looks like. The house smells really great, and I hope that when you make it, it turns out as well. If you've liked watching me cook and you'd like to see more, please subscribe. And please comment too so I know what to do more or less of. Thanks for watching.